कब तक होगा रेडी?
कंप्लीट रेडी तो होगा 3-4 दिन बाद।
कंप्लीट रेडी की बात, कंप्लीट रेडी है वैसे रेडी में क्या हिमसर यूनानी
morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Asim Ali Khan, who is with us online. Janab Abdul Majid Sahab, President HNF in absentia, and respected Janab Asad Muiz Sahab, member HNF India. He is also not with us today. Esteemed, he is on his way, he will join later. Esteemed Chief Executive Officer, Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Dr. G. N. Kazi. Most respected Dean and Principal, Professor Mridu Dudeja. Respected Medical Superintendent, Dr. Ejaz Mustafa Sir. All heads of the department, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, I extend a very warm welcome to you all at this HIMSR Unani Conclave, which is being held on World Unani Day 2021. I'm privileged and honored. I hope Professor Asim Ali is with us online. I'm privileged and honored to welcome our Chief Guest, Professor Asim Ali Khan, Director General, CCRUM, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, for taking out time and to be with us on this occasion. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I also welcome Professor Dr. D.C. Katoj, who is the former Director General of Ayush and is an advisor at the Ayush Ministry, Government of India. May I request Dr. Bhumika to please welcome Dr. Katoj.
Unmute karo. Mute karo.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to request Dr. Sana Rahman to please welcome our CEO, HIMSR and HEHC Hospital, Dr. G. N. Kazi. Allow me to welcome our esteemed Dean and Principal, Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, Professor Mridu Dudeja. Dr. Sana Anam, please do the honor. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Sana. We are really privileged to have among us, although virtually, another eminent speaker, Dr. Sarang Bani, Senior Advisor, Research and Development Wing of SAMI Sabsina Group. Sir, I hope you are able to watch the proceedings. I extend a very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. In fact, I am privileged to be here at this place with esteemed people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Professor Sunil Kohli from the Department of Medicine, Hamdard Institute of Medical Sciences. A feast to listen to. I would request to Dr. Bhumika to welcome, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bhumika. I would now like to request our honorable guests on the dais to please take their seats in the front row so that we can begin today's proceedings. Bismillah Rahman Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. May I now request Janab Abdul Malik Farooqi Sahab, Imam Rabia Masjid, to enlighten us all by reciting verses from the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واجعل لي لسان صدق في الآخرين. بہت چھوٹی سی آیت صرف بلیسنگز کے لیے میں نے آپ کے سامنے پڑھی ہے. اس کا مطلب جب آپ سمجھیں گے آپ کو بہت اچھا لگے گا، اور امید ہے کہ شاید ہم لوگ اس کو زندگی میں اپنائیں بھی. ایک پیغمبر گزرے تاریخ میں، ان کا نام تھا ابراہیم. انہوں نے ایک بڑی پیاری سی ایک دعا مانگی ایک دن، اور دعا کتنی اچھی لگی کہ قرآن میں اس کا ذکر کیا گیا ہے. دعا یہ مانگی کہ اے پروردگار، دنیا کو پالنے والے، جب میں اس دنیا سے چلا جاؤں تو میرا اچھا ذکر، میری اچھی یاد لوگوں کے دلوں میں بسی رہے. یہ دعا مانگی انہوں نے، اور دیکھیے کتنی کامیاب دعا ہوئی کہ دنیا کی بڑی بڑی قومیں جیسے کرسچنز ہیں، جیوش ہیں، مسلمز ہیں، اور دوسرے بہت سے لوگ بڑی عزت سے نام لیتے ہیں ان کا، اور ان کو گزرے ہوئے بھی ہزاروں برس ہو گئے، لیکن آج بھی دنیا میں ان لوگوں کے دلوں میں ان کی عزت ہے. یہ جو ایک بیماری پھیلی، اس بیماری نے دلوں میں جگہ بنانے کا بہت سارا راستہ کھول دیا، خاص طور سے ڈاکٹروں کے لیے، چاہے وہ یونانی فزیشین ہوں یا ایلوپیتھک کے ڈاکٹر ہوں. دلوں میں جگہ بنانے کا بہت سارا راستہ کھول دیا. اور میں جب سے یہ شروع ہوئی بیماری، جب سے میں دیکھ رہا ہوں کہ ڈاکٹروں کی عزت اور ان کا وقار جتنا زیادہ آج کے زمانے میں بڑھ گیا، اور جتنی زیادہ ڈاکٹروں کا نام اور ڈاکٹروں کا ذکر انسانوں کی زبان پر آج کے دن ہے، اس سے پہلے شاید کبھی نہیں رہا. کم سے کم میری جو تھوڑی سی عمر ہے، میں نے اپنی اس عمر میں کبھی بھی ڈاکٹروں کا اتنا ذکر نہیں سنا جتنا آج کل سن رہے ہیں. ہر شخص ڈاکٹروں کا مجبور ہے آج کے زمانے میں، اور یہی وجہ ہے کہ وہ جو ابراہیم کی دعا تھی، شاید جانے انجانے میں ان ڈاکٹروں نے بھی کبھی مانگی ہوگی کہ ہمارا ذکر بھی لوگوں کی زبان پر آ جائے. اور دیکھیے لوگوں کی زبانوں پر، ان کے ذہنوں میں اور ان کے دلوں میں ڈاکٹر لوگ کیسے موجود ہیں. اور یہ صرف اس وجہ سے ہے کہ اس مصیبت کی گھڑی میں، یہ جو مصیبت کی گھڑی آئی ہوئی ہے، یہ ڈاکٹر اس مصیبت کی گھڑی کو بہت زیادہ پازیٹیو وے میں لے رہے ہیں. میرا ایک ڈاکٹر سے واسطہ پڑتا ہے، وہ اتفاق سے یہاں موجود بھی ہیں، میرا علاج بھی کیا انہوں نے. میں دیکھتا ہوں کہ بہت سے مریض آ کے الجھ رہے ہیں، لڑ رہے ہیں، لیکن وہ کتنے ٹھنڈے دماغ سے اور کتنی ٹھنڈی اور میٹھی زبان سے اس غلط رویے کو جو مریضوں کا رہتا ہے اس زمانے میں، چونکہ فرسٹریشن بہت زیادہ ہے، اور اس کو پھر وہ کس طرح ہینڈل کر رہے ہیں. ایک مریض نے مجھ سے کہا کہ میں آدھا ٹھیک ہو گیا ہوں ان کی زبان کی وجہ سے. مجھے بڑی خوشی ہوئی کہ ڈاکٹروں کا پیشہ آج اس لائق تو ہوا اس زمانے کے اندر کہ ان کی زبان سے اور ان کے ایٹیٹیوڈ سے مریض اچھے ہو رہے ہیں. ایک بات مجھے یاد آ گئی کہ سوامی وویکانند کا نام سنا ہوگا آپ سب لوگوں نے. ان کی ایک بات مجھے بڑی اچھی لگی، اور وہ اچھی بات یہ لگی کہ ان کے ایک کرسچن دوست تھے. انہوں نے ایک مرتبہ سوامی جی کو اپنے گھر پہ بلایا اور ان کا امتحان لینے کے لیے بہت ساری کتابیں رکھ دی میز کے اوپر، اور جو سوامی جی کی پسندیدہ ان کی مذہبی کتاب تھی گیتا، اس کو سب سے نیچے رکھا، ساری کتابیں اوپر لگا دی دوسرے مذہبوں کی. اور ان کا امتحان لینے کے لیے پوچھا، سوامی جی یہ اس کے اوپر کچھ کمنٹس کریں گے آپ، اس میز پر جو چیز رکھی ہوئی ہے؟ سوامی جی نے اس کو بہت غور سے دیکھا اور مسکرا کہنے لگے، the foundation is really good. میں کہنا یہ چاہتا ہوں، یہ ایسے حالات آپ کی میری زندگی میں سب کے ساتھ آتے ہیں. لوگ ہمیں کبھی کبھی چڑھانے کے لیے، لوگ کبھی کبھی ہمیں اریٹیٹ کرنے کے لیے، کبھی کبھی ہم کو آزمانے کے لیے کچھ ایسا رویہ، کچھ ایسی زبان بولتے ہیں. اگر ہم اس کو تھوڑی دیر کے لیے نظر انداز کر دیں، اور ہمارے اندر جو اصلی شرافت ہے، جو انہیریٹڈ ان بلڈ ہے ہمارے آپ کے سب کے اندر، ہم لوگ سب پیدائشی خراب نہیں ہیں، کوئی بھی نہیں ہے. ہم سب بہت شریف لوگ ہیں، بہت شریف خاندانوں سے، شریف ماں باپ کے بیٹے ہیں. اس شرافت کو اگر ہم اپنی زبان کے اوپر، اپنے مزاج میں اور اپنے ذہنوں کے اندر لے آئیں تو زمانے میں بہت دنوں تک آپ یاد رکھے جائیں گے، بہت دنوں تک. پھر لوگ یہی کہتے ہوئے اس دنیا سے چلے جائیں گے، اجالے اپنی یادوں کے ہمارے ساتھ رہنے دو. उजाले अपनी यादों के हमारे साथ रहने दो, न जाने किस गली में जिंदगी की शाम हो जाए। बस आपकी यादें जो हैं, डॉक्टरों की यादें, उनकी जिंदगी के अंदर शाम नहीं आने देंगी, हमेशा सुबह का उजाला बाकी रखेंगी। कुरान की इस आयत को और इसके मतलब को हमेशा अपने जहन में रखिएगा। इंशाअल्लाह आप सब हमेशा कामयाब रहेंगे।
Thank you, sir. The world is in the grip of a pandemic, and it has seriously affected each one of us. Scientists and pharmaceutical companies are all throughout the world are tirelessly working to overcome the virus infection. Immunity plays a vital role in fighting the pathogenic infections in human body. The process requires metabolism, which we all know requires nutrients. The HIMSR Unani Conclave today is aimed at this end, to understand the scope, role of Unani medicine, and its integration with the modern medicine in disease prevention. To throw more light on today's proceedings and to welcome our honorable guest, I would like to invite Professor Mridu Dudeja, Dean HIMSR. Now. A very good morning and a very warm welcome to honorable dignitaries, online and offline both, our chief guest, Dr. Asim Ali Khan, Director General, CCURUM, Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, Patron and President HNF, MREC, Janab Abdul Majid Sahab in absentia, Patron Member Governing Body, Dr. Asad Muid Saab from HNF, our chairman and very dynamic and vibrant and visionary, our CEO, HIMSR, HAHCH Hospital, Dr. G.N. Qazi Sahab. Our eminent speakers online and on board, Dr. D.C. Katoj, former DG, CCRUM, and currently advisor Ayurveda in CGHS, our speaker, Dr. Sarang Bani from Sami Sabinsa Group, speaker, Professor Sunil Kohli, a very loved physician of HIMSR and HHCH, speaker, young and dynamic team of Dr. Kailash Chandra and Dr. Ayan Das, and to my medical superintendent, F&A, my dear colleagues and faculty, who all have gathered to grace this occasion with their valuable presence. A very good morning again and a very warm welcome to you all. World Unani Day, which we have gathered here to celebrate, is a global event, which is celebrated every year on February 11th, on the birthday of great Unani scholar and social reformer, Hakim Ajmal Khan Sahab. Hakim Ajmal Khan Sahab was an eminent Indian Unani physician who was a versatile genius, a great scholar, a reformer, a noted freedom fighter, a Unani medical educationist, and founder of social reforms and research in Unani systems of medicine. The main objective of the celebration of the said event is to pay tribute to this legendary for his wonderful contribution in the sustained development of Unani system of medicine in the country as well as in the rest of the world, and to spread the awareness about healthcare delivery through its preventive and curative philosophy. To recognize his tremendous role and immense contribution in the development of Unani system of medicine, the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India has declared his birthday as World Unani Day. And with this declaration, the CCURUM started the scheme of Ayush Awards in different categories for Unani system of medicine on the directive of Ministry of Ayush, Government of India in the year 2018. Today, in the unprecedented times of COVID-19 pandemic, when the whole world is undergoing a rapid change in all spheres because of the degradation of healthy ecosystem, thereby putting every human life under strong survival stress. Under these unprecedented circumstances, when people and health professionals are struggling to overcome these odds for survival, maintaining the integrity of the nature and human health, it has become a big challenge. At this crucial juncture, there is a strong need into the opportunities which are available in ancient Unani medical system along with modern medicine, having outstanding potential to reverse the worsening health status of human beings across the world. This unified system of medicine cannot be ignored. At this stage, especially due to its holistic approach, thereby providing the possibility of completing the entire spectrum of safety and efficacy of a treatment. Today at HIMSR, we have gathered to celebrate this World Unani Day as a unique idea of our visionaries, CEO Dr. G.N. Kazi Sahab, with kind support of our patrons and CCRUM in a special way, marking a step in the history of medicine by integrating modern medicine with traditional system of Unani medicine, for which we have a galaxy of eminent speakers today with us, who are going to illuminate the audience with important aspects of modern as well as traditional Unani medicine. With all my heart, I welcome again all the dignitaries and the audience online and on board to this academic feast, deliberating on the effect of COVID-19 infection on immune system and possible role of immunomodulation of Unani medicine. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. I would now like to request our Honorable CEO, HIMSR, Dr. G.N. Kazi, to deliver his presidential address. So please.
Okay, ठीक है, बता दो. Very good morning to you all. As usual, I must pay compliments to Imam Sahab for reminding us on such occasions, small but very valuable verse from time to time from Quran. And very appropriately, he delivered his sermon this morning. Thank you very much, Imam Sahab. I think I owe gratitude to the guests who are online with us, particularly Professor Asim Ali Khan and my dear friend and student, I must say, Sarang Bani. I think thank you, both of you, for sparing your time and deciding to remain a little bit away from us, particularly Asim. I was expecting him here because this was a sort of a renaissance for us. I thought that we will, for a couple of years, we were in the development state as far as medical college is concerned. And as regulators, I think we have a couple of them here around. Dr. Katoch, who has for a sizable amount of his time been in the regulatory mode from the Ministry of Ayush. And we have been keeping a little bit a distance with traditional medicine in last 7-8 years. But virtually, because I come from my background where the integrative medical system was introduced by me almost for 20 years of my career. But when we came here and we realized that there is a deep, I must say, divide created by law, that traditional medicine people have to be a little bit away from the modern medicine. We try to keep them together. I mean, it was so ironical to me that even pharmacy, which is a fundamental component of healthcare, has to be away from the medical education, where we produce graduates, undergraduates, graduates, postgraduates in modern medicine. I must say that my experience of coming to the stage of actually rubbing my shoulders with the clinicians here in the last 10, 12 years, I never thought that there was a distinction between these streams because they were interdependent on each other. Any stream would be meaningless without the connection with the other. But here, as per the medical council norms, we had to keep a distance. I was attracted to this particular university after I spent my time with Indian Institute of Integrative Medicine, and that was the style and the name that I chose for that institute. It used to be called Regional Research Laboratory as part of CSIR. But then we decided to work for integration of the systems, particularly Ayurveda, Unani system of medicine, and basic sciences, biochemistry, microbiology, and all basic sciences. But with that background, when I came here, I thought this was, in my opinion, at that point of time, I thought that this is a melting crucible. The university was, created such that there were all these elements at one place, and it was considered as a designed university for healthcare at that point of time. But then when I ventured into developing the medical college, I realized that we have to keep a distance. Even the students of the other streams cannot mix beyond the university premises. That means the hostels which we had to create and had to be so much sacrosanct for one stream only. In one of I was discussing with Dr. Katoch a short while back, historical background of how we came up to this stage. I realized that one thing that I forgot to tell you out of those things which let us down for at least 1 year was that a couple of students were spotted in the hostel of medical students, and they were sitting together and studying. And I think our professor sitting here was in charge of that hostel or that whole process. And they objected to that. And they wrote down this as a deficiency for us, that you are mixing the students of other streams with this stream of MBBS students. And so that was a shocking, revelation to me. When I found that, I thought that how narrow we are in our thinking about the process. So this idea of integration vanished on that day from my mind. So for almost about 3-4 years, we were focusing on purity of the modern medicine or Western medicine, what we know about. According to me, these foundations are same for everything. Unani medicine that we are celebrating today is nothing but a modern system of that time. It was more than 600-700 years back when we had the the scientists, clinicians of very good repute at that point of time who articulated the changes that had taken place over the years and brought it to the what is called to fore. Welcome, Dr. Asad Mueed. Yes, it's again. A little pause. I think I have to welcome you. Thank you very much for making it to this venue. I think yes, you can welcome him. So let me say that, okay, I think I should stop that there. We had to face these problems, and however, that stage is over, I must say. And although the regulatory system remains always there, and they can catch you anytime, at any point of time, and they're always right. You cannot tell them that you are wrong, so they are always right. So my idea was that why we kept distance with Unani system of medicine or traditional system of medicine for a couple of years was because we wanted to prove our purity to the authorities.
I should say my student. Student Nadia was there. Right? Student Nadia.
So I thought that this was a wonderful occasion, and that this idea came from Dr. Asad, who mentioned the other day that we should celebrate Unani Day in HIMSR as well. So it's a sort of a, although functionally we have been working in the traditional system of medicine without making it known to the world as much as we now intend to do. But let me come back to this Unani Day celebration. Actually, 11th January, Feb is the Hakim Ajmal Khan Day, which is celebrated as International Unani Day. And as she has already explained, who was Hakim Ajmal Khan? I'm sure some of you have heard of him a lot, but the aspect that has touched me, not now, but for many years, perhaps in my early scientific career stage, was not Hakim Ajmal Khan himself, because he was a Hakim, he was a great Hakim, but the scientists who got attached to him to validate his hikmat was what was more dear to me, actually. And one of the distinct names was Salim Zaman. Salim Zaman was Siddiqui. Salim Zaman Siddiqui was his close associate. And he was a chemist. He was a natural product chemist. And he had gone for medical education to Germany, where he cut short that after 2 years, and he joined basic sciences and studied chemistry. And he almost reached the level of getting Nobel Prize. He was a great chemist, I must tell you. Today, if we look back, and he existed between 1920 and he started his actually journey into natural product chemistry in early 1900. And so Rauwolfia serpentina was one of the plants which, in Ayurveda, it is very well known, and in Unani system also it is known. So it used to be very extensively used. And Ajmal Khan was basically the person who was using it extensively for for various diseases at that point of time, particularly neurological disorders, sleep sickness, and other things. He would actually use Rolfia serpentina in his own format. But when Salim Zaman came into this, he used for the first time the reductionist approach. Said whole, in Ayurveda, Unani, we prefer to give whole plant material. There is a reason for that. I don't have time to go into those things, why we prefer to give a whole plant rather than the fractions of the plant. So we used to call it a reductionist approach. You just isolate certain, not necessarily the single molecules out of this, but maybe a fraction of it, which may have something like 100 or 50 to 100 molecules, chemical molecules in this. You may identify only 5 or 7 of them, but that becomes a real drug at that point. Now we have officially in modern medicine, we can use these are called phytopharmaceuticals. And there is a stream that you can develop a drug based on phytopharmaceuticals, which may have 50, 70, or 100 molecules in it. But you must know at least 5 of them very clearly. And preferably at least one of them should show also the activity. And that stream is now already officially inducted, and we would like to take advantage of that. Although Dr. Asim Ali sitting here would not prefer me to say that, basically because they are interested in holistic use. So would Katoch perhaps also propagate. But as a scientist, I would like to have evidence for everything. And it's very essential for us to know exactly what is working. And even if parts of these preparations are contradicting each other, that's also very essential. So you have you can identify and say why it is acting in this format. So therefore, coming back to this, we thought that we should celebrate Unani developments and Unani what is called pharmacopoeia, where I was part for many, many years. However, I would say, having great regard for Ajmal Khan, Hakim Ajmal Khan, a great person, but I would say that is on 11th of Feb. And I, without having asked, of course, Asad and Abdul Majid, I would prefer to say celebrate 11th and celebrate 12th in the name of Hakim Abdul Hamid. And so that we have both of them captured in the same breath. So I didn't declare it so far because we have not brought this to the board so that we get the approval for this. And perhaps it's very essential also that we put them together in one bracket, basically because where Hakim Ajmal Khan left in 1927, that's when he passed away, Hakim Abdul Hamid, who is our founder, came on the scene. It was soon after him that he carried his legacy further, and as a Hakim. So he almost came to the same level as Hakim Ajmal Khan was. There are 7 attributes that have been put, given to Hakim Ajmal Khan. Very great 7 attributes. And when I had gone through that, I found out of 7, 6 attributes were common between Hakim Abdul Hamid and Hakim Ajmal Khan. Only one attribute that was not matching there was Hakim Ajmal Khan was a Rais. He was from a family of Rais. So he had huge amount of money at his back so that he could do whatever he liked. Hakim Abdul Hamid, our founder, was more or less a self-made person. because he lost his father when he was only 14-year-old. And his father was a Hakim Abdul Majid. On his name, we have this Majidia Hospital. And so therefore, we have more regard for Hakim Abdul Hamid because he was a self-made person. He built, first of all, Hamdard. Coining the word Hamdard itself has been always, coming to our mind. What a wonderful word was coined. But I think it was coined by his father. I think by Hakim Abdul Majid. Coined the word Hamdard. But you can imagine how beautiful name was selected and given to the compassion for a stream which was to come up for next 150 years. We are almost 150 years thereafter. So but Hakim Sahab was Imam Sahab was telling us how one dua can change everything. So you can imagine one word of finding one word can change, bring a historical change to a system. So I would say that this medical college would not have been there. This university would not have been there if Hakim Abdul Hamid had not dedicated his life for the education and as well as for the cause of healthcare. So therefore, we are indebted to him, and this is the most appropriate, opportune time for us to dedicate this whole process of healthcare education and healthcare, what is called services to Hakim Abdul Hamid. But I would, in the same breath, say that we would further not be sitting in this beautiful hall and in this institute if his son, Abdul Mueed, would not have actually had this idea of taking his father's wish of getting into modern medicine along with the traditional medicine which he had established here. So that was his wish, and then his son, unfortunately, he's no more, but he was the person who had developed this, idea of that we should have parallelly modern medicine along with this. All the time when I was doing this project, he would remind me that Unani is our base, and please don't forget Unani. He would always tell me, if I was spending 100 rupees for the medical college, he would say, spend at least 10 rupees or 15 rupees for the Unani system as well. And he would give separate fund to me for the Unani stream. Whether we used it or not, well, I think Dr. Asim Ali Khan will tell us that. But we tried our level best to see that there is we create a minimum standard for Unani system of medicine as well. I think I will not like to take it further. I would just say, again, I would say that fourth generation of the family of which Asad is sitting here, I think I must salute them that they have the same spirit still percolating down to their level and maybe to the next generation as well, who are all out to help the systems, particularly Unani system of medicine. So therefore, it is an obligation on us that along with the first program of producing our bright undergraduates and postgraduates from here and do a research, which is the minimum requirement as far as the now NMC is concerned, but we must also propagate and look into the Unani system of medicine and see that it gets its strong legs back, because for a long time we had forgotten about it. So I would say that evidence creation is now our job, basically. because they are an established company. They have established products, and which are doing extremely well. And I'm sure they will thrive without our, with us or without us. But for us, it will be obligatory that we start finding evidence for whatever has been put in place through the Unani system of medicine. And I would like to say that we get a lot of support from CCRUM when this pandemic appeared, and they approached us. They asked us that we should do something in this area. We should identify a couple of products from Hamdard and start creating evidence in reference to COVID-19. And we immediately fell in line, and we are working very closely with CCRUM. We are informing them. We have, I think, 2 programs already online, and thousands of subjects have been screened, and thousands, I think it has crossed about 5,000. So 5,500 have been screened. Fortunately, we had built a strong base of, diagnostics, RT-PCR, and also NABL accredited, ICMR approved. And so therefore, and I don't know, there was some kind of a premonition which decided to have this facility even before the pandemic appeared. We had started looking into this. So it did not take us more time to, we were almost on dot time when the pandemic appeared, or was declared rather. So, so we are, just to give an assurance to Dr. Asad, that we are in line with what is the minimum requirement, scientific requirement of the validation of the Unani system of medicine. Not necessarily that everything can be validated, but even if 2-3% of their products or 5% of their products are just validated. See, one validation is most important. So I'm saying to doctors who are sitting here, who are actually part of this, is the safety. I think that is fundamental to us, that anything that we touch and we give to patients has to be safe. I said, every time we remind our people, our young doctors and all, that the fundamental point is do no harm. So that's what last time also our idea came, that do no harm. So when that comes to your mind, that is the first step. So then you cannot give a drug which may create a harm, which may be harmful. So therefore, even if we scientifically prove and say that something that has been in use for 150 years may not be effective. Efficacy may not be as much as we would have liked, but fundamentally it should be safe. So if it is safe, I have been saying this most of the time, that the placebo difference between a placebo and the drug in natural, what is called system, is about 15 to 20%, not more than that. That's my personal experience. I think my colleague sitting here, Sarang Bani, has been, deep into this. We have been working on placebo-controlled studies, preclinical as well as clinical, for many, many years. And I've seen that it is not more than, if we used to get a difference between placebo and this, about 15%, we would say thumbs up. It's effective. And so, because for these preparations, fundamentally these what is called formulations, we have faith also in them, because they are traditionally with us. Our forefathers have been using it. Our grandmother has been prescribing it to us when there was no doctor available to us. So mentally, we know that there is something in these, and therefore we don't care what kind of efficacy is there. So 70 to 80% of the children, patients will get cured without even having a curing activity of these drugs. That part is very much established. So therefore, I would emphasize here and say that all our doctors who are associated with our clinical trials on these complex what is called preparations should insist more and more on safety. And once you are, and that also not the animal safety. Normally, Sarang would look for preclinical what is called as animal studies, and that's what normally we do in the labs. But those stages, that's not very, very relevant to me. I would say if there is something in the market which is already there for about 70 years, 60 years, 50 years, then you have a lot of reason to try it and test it on the humans because it is safe anyway. So I think there are almost about 135 preparations of HIMSR. When I was in the chairman of the pharmacopoeia committee, we had actually accepted them on the basis that they are there already for more than 70, 80 years in the market. And so therefore they became public domain molecules or public domain drugs, even though they were not, at that point of time, they were not a part of the formulary that was there. And we, with the help of HIMSR people, we inducted them into formulary. And they are now part of the formulary. So therefore, I would emphasize once again and say that safety should be the most important component. And then, of course, create an evidence on this. Standardization is something where we have a problem, where actually, because batch to batch, you can't imagine having it same as the protocol, as same as we have for single molecules or even mixtures of molecules, where it is very easy to find and standardize it. Here, there may be something like 200, 250, 300 molecules that will appear on your, on the, when you are testing it. And therefore, it will be very, very difficult to have batch to batch the same, what is called chemical structure. So therefore, that is where we have to somehow or other start validating it and getting into this. I think I'll stop it here. And because there are other persons who will have to speak on this, I would like to thank you all for coming here, for being part of this celebration today. And I hope because it's a Friday today, so we have only a short period available to us. We will try to complete some, particularly those who are from outside here. First, we should give them the opportunity. And then, of course, we will be open after the prayer, Friday prayer also. So I have requested them to don't feed them before they, before that. They can come back and stay with us and discuss this beyond, maybe up to 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. They should continue discussing this. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. May I request Professor Mridu Dudeja to please present the memento, sir, for all the guidance and honoring us to be here.
Or are you going to virtually send this to them?
By post. By post.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Janab Asad Saab, for gracing this occasion. May our chief guest, Professor Asif Ali Khan, currently Director General, Central Council for Research in Unani Ministry of the Ayush, Government of India, has had a long association with us. He is also the professor in the Department of Molji, Unani Medicine, Jamia Hamdard. Sir, may I request you to please address the gathering?
No, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Dr. G.N. Qazi Sahib, Janab Abdul Majid Sahib, Dr. Asad Muhit Sahib, Professor Mirdu Dudeja ji, Dr. Katoch, Professor Kohli, other distinguished experts at the webinar panel, faculty members at HIMSR, dear participants, students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I really want to put my sincere apologies for not being physically present at this event today. As you all know, the Jamia Hamdard is my home. Many of you may be aware that yesterday, on this occasion, we had a function at Vigyan Bhavan. We celebrated and observed Unani Day with one-day national conference on Unani medicine. Challenges faced in the COVID-19 times on behalf of Ministry of Ayush. And in that, we invite all our directors and other members from different campuses. At present, I have 22, 23 campuses in the country. And all those people do travel to Delhi on this occasion, and they have a lot of their own issues and concerns, and they all want to discuss and bring them along in the name of this function. And they all are hovering outside. So incidentally, flights are less these days, and many of them have flights in the afternoon, and everybody wants to discuss their concerns. So that was one reason. Second is certain budget meetings are already in place, which are to be chaired by Secretary Ayush and Financial Advisor of Ministry of Expenditure and Finance. They are in place. Thirdly, there is one webinar on cancer. We have developed one virtual conference room in ministry. And today one seminar and webinar on cancer we are doing, and its solutions in United System of Medicine, possible solutions and whatever researches we are doing, and almost 4 experts are there from different parts of the country, and I am supposed to moderate that. That is also in place. And these things are already lying. One more webinar is there in AIMS Raipur today, and their director has invited me to speak as a chief guest there, and that is also immediately after. So these things are just because of that I could not manage to be there. Otherwise, I would have loved them. This is my place. So I once again put my sincere apologies for that. On the occasion of this Unani Day 2021, it is indeed an honor to be a part of this Unani conclave organized by HIMSR today. I'm really thankful to Dr. G.N. Qazi Sahib, the Chief Executive Officer and Director General of HIMSR, for inviting me and providing me this opportunity to interact with the scholars and of Unani system of medicine, as well as the conventional modern system of medicine. As very rightly said, this day is being celebrated on the occasion of birth anniversary of Hakim Ajmal Khan Sahib, a stalwart of 19th century. On this occasion, we all know that not only in India, but in many other parts of the world, Unani medicine and its potentials are being discussed in the form of seminars, symposia, and webinars. I pay my very highly respect and tribute to very highly respected Unani scholar, a philanthropist and educationist of 20th century, Janab Hakim Abdul Hamid Sahib Marhoom Makhur, whose contributions in the upliftment and growth of Unani system of medicine are highly recognized across not only within our Indian subcontinent, but across the globe, for which many of the countries have really recognized and appreciated that by giving them the highest awards of their countries in this context. Friends, Unani medicine is indeed a comprehensive medical system which meticulously deals with the various states of health and disease. It provides promotive, preventive, curative, and rehabilitative healthcare. We all know that Unani system of medicine passed through many countries and civilizations, getting enriched along the way before being introduced in India in around the 8th century AD. Since its introduction in India, many centuries back, India's continuous contribution to the further development of the system has been globally recognized now. And today, as a result, India is the world leader in Unani system of medicine. It has a global presence and is being practiced in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, China, Iran, Iraq, Malaysia, Indonesia, Central Asian and Middle Eastern countries, some African. At international level, as Government of India, we have engaged in fruitful dialogue with countries like South Africa, Iran, China, USA, UK, Israel, Greece, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and few other countries. We had also established academic chairs and set up a School of Natural Sciences, Natural Medicine, University of Western Cape, South Africa, where we had deputed one professor for 3 years to help in promoting and propagating Unani system of medicine. We have also signed MOU with Hamdard University, Bangladesh, to set up an academic chair, an MOU between CCRUM and Tajik State Medical University, named after Avicenna, for cooperation in the field of traditional medicine was also signed in the presence of Honorable President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovind Sahib, and Honorable President of Tajikistan, Imamul Rahman Sahib, in Dushanbe, Tajikistan. I had the privilege to move and to go to Iran with Secretary Ayush, Sri Vaidya Rajesh Kutecha ji, as a delegation from the Government of India. And we had many deliberations with the Health Ministry and the Traditional System Ministry, a section of the ministry in Iran. And after many deliberations on having the collaborations between these two countries, we had already signed one MOM, and it was signed between us and the Ministry of Health in Iran for the cooperation in the field of traditional medicine in 2019. In India, the system has been developed very systematically and scientifically, nurtured and integrated in the healthcare delivery system over the years by the Government of India. The fundamentals, the diagnosis and treatment modalities of the system are based on scientific principles. Today, our traditional systems of medicine are relevant globally because of their holistic and comprehensive approach of health. Our government is fully committed to promotion of traditional systems of medicine. The health promotion is one of the priority areas focused by the Government of India, and to improve the health status of people through traditional systems of medicine. The government has taken many steps, including strengthening of educational systems, facilitating the enforcement of quality control of Ayush drugs, and sustainable availability of raw materials, which has always been a concern. As a result, Unani system of medicine today forms an integral part of national healthcare delivery system. Presently, about 52 undergraduate, 11 postgraduate, and 3 exclusive postgraduate institutions are offering education and training in Unani medicine in India. There are around 259 Unani hospitals, more than 1,600 Unani dispensaries, more than 625 Unani drug manufacturing units, and around more than 51,000 Unani practitioners in the country. Ministry of Ayush has also successfully established one National Institute of Unani Medicine in Bangalore, which is an apex institution and offers postgraduate as well as the postdoctoral education and research programs in Unani medicine. Ministry of Ayush and CCRUM are in the process of further establishing. Right now, we have 23 centers and campuses in the country, like national institutions and central institutions and regional institutions, as well as the clinical research units. And we have our pan-India presence as north as in Kashmir, and as south as in Kerala, and as east as in Assam, Silchar. We are developing new infrastructure, state-of-the-art infrastructure, wonderful laboratories. In Assam, in just after 2 months, I'm going to get one very state-of-the-art built institution that is, and I'm going to develop as a regional research institute of Unani medicine in Assam. Similarly, just after 2 months, we are going to get one wonderful institution in Navi Mumbai. And I have already one institution in Mumbai that is in JJ Hospital. From there, we are shifting into new building, new facility. It is a wonderfully developed facility. Government of India and Ministry of Ayush, we are also developing one national institution in Ghaziabad, just in the NCR, with the cost of almost 360 crore rupees. It is almost developed, and we are very soon going to initiate the exercises and interventions through that particular institution. I have also been allotted as CCRUM by the government of Haryana one land in around 9 acres of land in Haryana, in Faridabad, for developing and establishing one institute, that is the National Institute of Unani Medicine, for lifestyle disorders with 120 bed hospitals attached to it. So all these things are already in place, which are going on. Central Council for Research in Unani Medicine is flourishing under the patronage of the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India, and has over the past 4 decades emerged as the leading research organization in Unani medicine. The council has brought out significant scientific outcomes and documents for reference and use in this field. The council has successfully built a research base for the system with focused objectives and plans. The research program of the CCRUM mainly comprised of clinical research, including safety and efficacy studies of Unani drugs, validation of the fundamentals and regimental therapies, drug standardization and quality control, survey and cultivation of medicinal plants, and literary research, information, education and communication, international cooperation, and human resource development are also part of the council's activities, in addition to extension of health services. In the present scenario of unhealthy lifestyles, we all know, which is among the populations, lifestyle interventions and approaches of preventive, promotive, curative, rejuvenative, and rehabilitative healthcare are thus the preferred options to curb the health risk factors among the population. Therefore, there is also an urgent need to explore strength areas of Ayush systems to find safe and viable solutions to prevalent health challenges such as vector-borne diseases, non-communicable diseases, cancer, tuberculosis, anemia, and malnutrition, etc. In fact, it has been our endeavor in CCRUM to ensure that Council's approach towards research is to serve to both the national needs and the global demands. Friends, mainstreaming of Ayush systems is essential to strengthen the delivery system of the healthcare in today's scenario. Unani medicine can play an important role in public health because of its holistic and comprehensive approach to health. This system is meant to enhance the total health of a human being, both mental and physical, which are essential in the pursuit of health. Targeting only the sick person and aiming for their medical treatment is not sufficient to attain the goal of complete health. It is easier to prevent the diseases rather than attempting for their cure. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, including hypertension, are some of the current health issues faced by the world. In this scenario, our age-old traditional systems of medicine, including Unani system of medicine, stand out as a way for coping with the relentless rise of chronic non-communicable diseases. When the world is witnessing a rise in incidence of diseases, the demand for affordable healthcare is also increasing manifold. Health systems based on a single medical discipline is not enough to combat diseases and challenges to public health. An effective and robust public health system is the need of our and improved health and well-being of people in the globe. Because of this reason, pluralistic approach to health by way of making traditional systems of medicine more accessible in the health delivery system and integrated health services are an ideal and affordable solution to meet the demands of public health. Lifestyle interventions and utilizations of preventive, promotive, curative, rehabilitative healthcare are thus the preferred options to curb the health risk factors among the population. We all know that the positive features of Unani system of medicine, namely its diversity and flexibility, its accessibility and affordability, and a broad acceptance by a very big section of the general public, comparatively low cost, and growing economic value, have great potentials to make Unani system of medicine as the provider of healthcare that the larger section of our people need today. The Ministry of Ayush is working on mainstreaming of Ayush by making every effort providing to promote the use of traditional medicine in national public health system. The efforts of the ministry are focused on mainstreaming the potentials of Ayush by ensuring access to Ayush services, introduction of yoga in schools and workplaces for health promotion, building research and public health skills for preventive and promotive healthcare, Ayush orientation to grassroots health workers, and village health sanitation and nutrition committees, bridge courses for mid-level health providers, certification mechanism for traditional community health providers as well. The National Health Ayush Mission launched in the year 2014, is one of the major steps taken by Government of India. The National Ayush Mission was started to promote Ayush medical systems by providing cost-effective Ayush services through upgrading Ayush hospitals and dispensaries and co-locations in PHCs, CHCs, and district hospitals. Other objectives of this mission include upgradation of Ayush educational institutions, upgradation of ASU and H pharmacies, drug testing laboratories, and strengthening of ASU and H drug enforcement mechanism, and supporting the cultivation and medicinal plants to provide sustained supply of good quality raw materials. India has also been able to achieve sustainable integration by co-location of Ayush facilities along with the conventional facilities at primary health centers, community health centers, and district hospitals. National Health Program for Prevention and Control of Cancer, Diabetes, and Cardiovascular Disease and Stroke, we call it NPCDCS, is been launched in collaboration with Directorate General of Health Services, Government of India, as an important initiative towards utilizing the strengths of Ayush systems of medicine in non-communicable diseases. Under this landmark program, the CCREM has also adopted and has launched a pilot project for integration of Unani medicine in the district of Lakhimpur Kheri near Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, with the objective to ensure prevention and early diagnosis of lifestyle diseases and reduce the complications in drug dependency and supplement NPCDCS in preservation and promotion of health. Ministry of Ayush is also playing a very important lead and role in the Ayushman Bharat Yojana, and around 12,500 health and wellness centers are being managed totally by Ayush streams, and remaining centers, wellness centers, as part would be based on Ayush principles in a seamless model. Unani medicine acknowledges the environmental and ecological influence on the health of human beings. The onus of Unani medicine is on prevention of disease and promotion of health. There are many drugs that are used for this purpose. As per the classical Unani wisdom, improving immunity with immune boosters is one of the key approaches for prevention of disease and maintenance of health. Therefore, a strategy to enhance immunity has been the focus of the advisory issued by the Ministry of Ayush during the COVID-19 pandemic times. On the same principles, CCRUM carried out several projects during the COVID-19 pandemic peak. Two of them were population-based prophylactic studies, and the first one was done on the COVID-19 hotspots, quarantine areas. It was conducted to the council centers in Lucknow, New Delhi, Mumbai, Aligarh, Srinagar, and National Institute of Unani Medicine, Bangalore, with a sample size of almost 40,000 participants, 20,000 in control group and 20,000 in test group. At this hour, we had given a call and we had requested the industry, Unani industry in the country, that they can come and join hands with the government in this noble cause. And I am thankful that Hamdard Laboratories came forward for that, and they provided medicine in large numbers and large quantities. And we are thankful to them, and we utilize them for having this kind of a study, this large study. I think the first time, this 40,000 Unani people we did at CCRUM, 40,000 we did in Ayurveda, 40,000 we did in homeopathy and Siddha. So this was a huge study of almost 2 lakh patients across the country. And this study, the results are being analyzed, and wonderful leads are being seen. And very soon we are going to share the results of these studies with the audience in the country and the globe through publications and research publications. So we are thankful to Hamdard Laboratories for providing and coming forward for that particular support and supporting the cause, noble cause. We also had started certain add-on therapies where the location centers were there, government recognized institutions were there, like Karol Bagh was there, one COVID center, like Safdarjung Hospital and certain other hotspots. In Safdarjung Hospital, one study is still going on with the team there. So these kind of studies CCRUM also took during this particular time. The results of these studies are open avenues, will definitely open avenues for the new prophylactic drugs in this particular disorder. Many such studies we had also, as Professor Qazi Sahib in his inaugural address had mentioned, that we had opened up and advertised that as an extramural research program, that all the organizations who are keen and who have the facilities and expertise in having the studies and who can do the studies in the Unani system of medicine along with the modern parameters can come forward. And we had, through EMR, we had also through Unani System of Medicine, many studies had been given to certain leading scientists of the country, and those studies are also underway. An important lesson learned during COVID-19 times is that immunomodulation is imperative for enhancing host different responses. Immune modulation, the forte of Unani medicine, may play an important role in improving the quality of life and aiding in the process of recovery. The drug standardization encompasses a comprehensive evaluation of ASU drugs in respect to their pharmacognostical, physiochemical, and pharmacological profiles in order to study the various qualitative, the quantitative, and the characteristic of drugs. This is also a very important area for which the CCRUM is taking care of, and Professor Qazi Sahib is well aware of it because he was the chair for long in the Unani Pharmacopoeia Committee of CCRUM, and under his leadership, many pharmacopoeia had been published. This is a very important area, probably Ministry of Ayush is looking into and taking care of in all the sectors of Ayush. The council has 5 drug research centers and drug testing laboratories equipped with sophisticated instruments, research for assurance of quality of ASU drugs. Industry, we are also open to. Always we have been asking that we are there to handhold and assist the industry. I think the most important thing, as was also addressed by Dr. Qazi Sahib, that everybody should have the passport data and safety profile, like for those of heavy and toxic metals, the microbial contaminations, and aflatoxins and pesticides residues of each ASU drug before marketing the quality medicine to the needy masses. I think the NMPB, the National Medicine Plant Board of Government of India, is very actively involved in resolving many such issues, and its guidance may be sought by the industry and other stakeholders. This National Medicine Plant Board has appropriate mechanism for coordination between various ministries and organizations in implementation of support policies and programs for overall conservation, cultivation, and trade and export growth of medicinal plants sector, both at the central and state as well as the international level. Recently, CCRUM has also established one broad drug repository project in collaboration with CCRAS Chennai and NIS Chennai from NMPB, and we have started and established the center in one of my campuses at Chennai, that is Regional Research of Unani Medicine Chennai, for the authentication and repository of medicinal plants available in southern part of the country. Friends, though the popular allopathic treatment to various diseases proved itself as competent to treat many disorders, especially that require emergency relief and surgery. However, because of the high cost of medical tests, treatment in medicine in the allopathic treatment is beyond the reach of the majority of the people. The affordability of healthcare has been such a burning topic that America had to pass a federal reform law, the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act in 2010, signaling the goals of protecting patients from undue financial burden and expanding access to affordable care through insurance coverage. Healthcare, which is a birthright of an individual, is now a dream of many. New research shows consumers cannot afford their healthcare cost, and many are skipping care because of the prices. The prices are escalating, and financial companies are now coming forward to assist in accessing this birthright. The healthcare providers justified by providing their breakup is thousands of dollars spent on molecule development and yet another thousands on drug development. Unani System of Medicine can offer an affordable solution and has a lot to offer in the preventive, promotive, and curative aspect during this particular reason. Ayush systems have a distinct identity and capable to manage health problems through a holistic approach. With the comprehensive support of the Government of India, these systems, including Unani, have continued to grow and develop over the years, thus increasingly catering to the health needs of the country. As Dr. Qazi Sahib also mentioned in his inaugural speech, that about the integration. Integrating traditional system of medicine into the national health system can only be achieved by understanding the issues for which the conventional pharmaceutical or surgical treatments have limitations. I think the more robust association between traditional and modern medicine is expected to be safe and cost effective. I think it would be a win-win situation for all, which will help doctors treat patients better and patients to recover faster and preserve their health and prevent illnesses and diseases. Integration, when we say, it means that we have to integrate not to compromise the individuality of the people and the systems, we have to respect each other and we have to respect each other's individuality, but probably we have also to understand each other better. And that has to be started from the school education level, at the level where the graduations are being carried out. For example, allopathic doctors or the Unani doctors or Ayush doctors, we shall understand each other better. We should exchange our chapters in the curriculum and we should know each other better, so that for the major benefit of the masses, we can come together and offer the solutions. Whoever is good at providing a solution from that particular issue, I think that person should offer that treatment. Under one roof, we all should work together. And I think that is the integration which we have in our mind. Government of India recently has constituted certain committees which are on clinical research and preclinical research. A senior committee of scientists has also been organized, which is being constituted by all the leading scientists of the country in modern medicine and Ayush in the Ayush sector. And they are developing those protocols and the researches. We are also doing one more exercise, that whatever the council or different councils have worked, we have signed MOUs with the CSIR and other leading institutions. What we are trying to do is that whatever the leads we have taken in different sectors, we are discussing at the platform of the scientists of the CSIR, and we want to know the gap analysis we are trying to do, that where we have the gaps left in between and how we can fill and who is going to fill, so that the medicines and those leads could be acceptable across not only the country, but across the globe, maybe by FDA and others. So this exercise is also going on. We are also working on certain projects like vitiligo, which is a wonderful leads we have taken through our institution in Hyderabad. So such kind of projects are also being discussed and taken care of, like whether this is CCNB or the IICT or NIPERS. So we are working on these institutions, and those committees are working on to finding out the gaps and finding solutions how to fill the gaps. I am confident that with the concerted efforts, having research-based approach and availability of products, we can better popularize the Unani system of medicine for the larger benefit of masses. I will not take much time. I once again thank the team HIMSR, especially Professor G. N. Qazi Sahib, for providing me this opportunity for this interaction with this wonderful audience. Thanking you very much. Jai Hind. I think, ma'am, your mic is off. I think you may have to unmute yourself.
I was saying thank you, sir, for being with us today, and we appreciate for your presence. And to honor your presence, we'd like to present a memento to you, which will be delivered to you. Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to invite Dr. D.C. Katoj, former Joint Advisor in the Department of Ayush, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, and currently Ayurveda expert at CGHS, to deliver his lecture on emergence, scope, and potential of Ayush Prashad healthcare. So.
Good afternoon and Assalamu alaikum. First of all, thanks to the organizers, particularly the custodians of this institute of Hamdard Institute of Medical Science and Research, Dr. Asad Mohiji, Professor G. N. Qazi, the CEO of this institute, Professor Ridula Tuderaji, and the online chief guest of the function, Professor Asim Ali Khan, Dr. Sarang Bani, Professor Sunil Kohli, Dr. Kailash Chandra, and Ayan Kumar Das, and all those who are present here. Thank you very much for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity that I should share my views, some sentiments about so-called traditional systems of medicine. As Professor Kazi in the beginning, I think he has set the tone that what we need to do means the safety. The safety is very important, the safety of the product which we use for healthcare. Friends, we usually say that traditional medicine, modern medicine. But if you see the books of medicine, you will not find these words. Medicine is medicine. Health is health. Health is not system specific. We cannot say that it is Ayurvedic health, it is allopathic health. It is Siddha health or this is yoga. The concepts could be different. The principles of understanding that subject could be different, whether it is health or disease, and how to manage the disease condition. Those could be different. But medicine is medicine. If you see the history of development of medicine, you just imagine, आपने देखा होगा कि हिप्पोक्रेटस का नाम लिया जाता है. Yeah, Greece. Initially, the system of medicine, it was the local health practices and the local medical practices, or you can say the community medicine. Okay. And when these systems bifurcated or trifurcated, we can see that there are 6 medical streams across the world. The first is Mediterranean system of medicine, from where this Unani system of medicine came. Now it is totally assumed into this Indian system of medicine. Okay. We call it as South Asian medicine, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani. Now these are South Asian medicine. Then there is another stream which developed in eastern part of the world, that is traditional Chinese medicine, Korean medicine, Japanese medicine, Kompo medicine, right? Then there is another part of this system of medicine that went into the American region, but that medicine is still known as Native American medicine, but it has not developed the way Ayurveda has developed, the way Unani system of medicine has developed, or the way the traditional Chinese system of medicine. So Native American medicine. Then there is another system that is in the African part of the world, known as African traditional medicine. African traditional medicine is so rich, so strong, but unfortunately, it is not documented. It is not scientifically validated. Even for AIDS or for any chronic disease, the people there, they resort to the traditional, the herbal medicine or whatever you call it, but it is not documented. Now the institutions are coming up there, a lot of R&D activities, and they have set up institutions. Then another part of medical stream that got developed in European part of the world, that we call as Western system of medicine, or the so-called Western system of medicine, or the so-called modern system of medicine. About 2 years back, there was one international conference on this, the policy for traditional medicine, so-called the policy for traditional medicine, the WHO policy or the strategy for traditional medicine. It was in Hong Kong. I was also invited there. So there was a presentation from the WHO side, and then after that, there were certain experts from China and other discuss. So the first discussion point was how you fit in traditional medicine into the healthcare system. So during the discussion, I put a question. To the experts that first define what is modern medicine and what is traditional medicine. You just close your eyes, and those who are practicing modern medicine, are they not practicing modern medicine in a traditional way? Is the modern medicine, the so-called modern medicine, like the use of antibiotics, it has become traditional. And the use of turmeric by the people. No, if the turmeric is used in the form of curcumin, it means that's modernization of the tradition. So how you pack the product, how you promote the product, right? And today, I think in the contemporary times, means evidence-based, what Professor called evidence-based, means evidence which is acceptable to the medical fraternity, to the scientific fraternity, or to the global community. If we create that evidence, it means that will become a global medicine. Whether it is coming from the herbal medicine side or whether it is coming from the MGLO side. So in this backdrop, if you see the development of medicine across the world, now WHO has set up 6 reasons we call as WHO reasons. So there is one region which is Mediterranean region of the WHO. So they are looking after that part of the world. Then there is Western Pacific region. The headquarters is in Philippines in Manila. There is this Eastern system of medicine. And no doubt there's a modern medical system that is also taken care of. In India, in Delhi, we have South Asia regional headquarters of WHO. Then in America, there is American region. Then there is another African region. Now, last year, when this COVID-19 pandemic erupted, I think in India, it came in the first week of January. I think 2 Keralite medical students who came from Wuhan and they were found infected, and then the government of India, the government Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, they started working. And I think within 3 weeks, of that, I think on 27 January, Ministry of Ayush issued public advisory about the use of these so-called traditional medicines, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani medicines. And in that advisory, there was one recommendation for a decoction. And that decoction was evolved on the basis of discussions among the experts in the research council, and the in-house experts of the ministry. And it was just an arbitrary formulation at that point of time. And when it was advertised or it was publicized and the people, they started using that, you might be remembering that the Honorable Prime Minister, he addressed the nation thrice in the early part of this COVID-19 outbreak. On 23rd March, and the next day this lockdown was imposed. And then on 28th March. On 28th March, when he addressed the nation, he said that we have no remedy for COVID-19. There is no remedy for COVID-19, but our local health practices, they are good enough. They are good enough to enhance the immunity, to boost the immunity, and the people, they should start using those remedies, the home remedies or whatever you call it. And in that reference, he endorsed the use of this decoction. In that decoction, there were 4 ingredients. I will tell you later what are those ingredients. And then on 14th April, he again, on the day of, that was a constitutional day, 14th Ambedkar Divas, that's known as the Constitution Day. On that day, again, he addressed the nation, and then he counted 10 steps which need to be taken for control of this COVID-19. And one of the steps was, again, the immunity boosting measures, health promotive measures. And one of the health promotive measures he endorsed was this use of this decoction. That point of time, I was working in the Ministry of Ayush as advisor, and I was looking after drugs quality control. I was in charge of the drugs quality control division of the ministry. So we thought that why not to standardize this formulation? So within 2 weeks, We had discussion with the experts in the IIIM Jammu. We had discussions with certain experts in the industry, like natural remedies and some other experts. And we also had discussion with the experts in our pharmacopoeia commission and in the pharmacopoeia committees, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani Pharmacopoeia Committee. And we standardize the formulation in terms of the proportion of the ingredients and how to make use of that formulation. And then the formulation was decided as such. 4 parts of tulsi leaves, Ocimum sanctum or Ocimum tenuiflorum is the new name. Dried leaves of tulsi. Second was dalchini, Cinnamon verum or Cinnamon gelanicum. 2 parts of dalchini आप जानते हैं. Third is gingiber officinale, that is adrak, dry ginger, 2 parts, and 1 part of this Piper longum kali mirch. Professor Kazi, I think he knows, and many of you also know that what are the pharmacological properties of these ingredients. They are well known, they are scientifically validated as antioxidant, hepatoprotective, bioenhancer, Piper longum, Piper nigrum, and ginger. This gingiber officinale is antiplatelet also. It helps in preventing coagulation. So this formulation was evolved. And on 24th April, we wrote to the state governments. And that letter had gone to the state governments under my signature, since I was Deputy Drug Controller for Ayush. And we requested the state governments that if the manufacturers, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani drug manufacturers, if they are interested to manufacture this formulation, they may be allowed. And this formulation may be known as Ayush Kwath or Ayush Joshanda or Ayush Kodinir. Ayush Kwath in terms of Ayurveda, Ayush Joshanda in terms of Unani system of medicine, and Ayush Kodinir in terms of Siddha system of medicine, right? And all these 3 systems, the drugs of these systems, they are regulated by the same regulatory provisions as given in the drugs and cosmetics. So we said that, okay, nobody can use any other name for this formulation. We will call it Ayush Kwath or Ayush Joshanda or Ayush Kodinir. So generic name. And immediately we also wrote to the GST Council that this product may be considered as classical formulation, not a proprietary, because for the proprietary formulation, the GST rate is 12%. But for this, it is 5%. And you will not believe that within 3 months, more than 150 drug manufacturers, they got a license for manufacturing this formulation. And today, Ayurveda manufacturers, Ayurveda drug manufacturers, Unani drug manufacturers, Siddha drug manufacturers, they are manufacturing this formulation. And I was told just a day before yesterday, I was told that around there is a market of around 300 crores of this single product. This market is growing, and there's a lot of scope for export also. Why? I had been working in the ministry for the last around 21 years. Just recently, I have moved to CGHS because on completion of 62 years of age, the doctor cannot serve at the administrative position. So I have moved to CGHS as a clinician, as a practitioner. So in the last 21 years, I have traveled across the world, all parts of the world, different capacities, sometimes as a WHO expert for traditional medicine, sometimes as a representative of Government of India or part of the technical delegations. So what I have seen that our products, the products from India, particularly Ayurveda products or Siddha products, Unani products, they are not meeting the regulatory standards of importing countries. The regulatory standards for the drugs. The four things are required if you designate a product as a drug or as a medicine. The first is quality, the second is safety, third is efficacy, and the fourth one is stability, shelf life. But the last three, the safety, efficacy, stability, I think it is subsumed in quality. Quality is a comprehensive term. So everything means whether it is safety or efficacy, you cannot have a product of quality, but if it is not safe, it has to be safe. Right? Now, these aspects of this particular formulation, these need to be studied. Now, the parameters are given there, that for this formulation, you can use the ingredients of pharmacopoeia standards as given in the Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia. The pharmacopoeia standard, the quality standards of tulsi are given in the Ayurvedic pharmacopoeia. Similarly, of dalchini, similarly of ginger and of peppermint, these are given there. So what we did, we have given this work to some institutions, and later on, the whole work, the whole data that was compiled, it was collated, and it was put before the pharmacopoeia committees, all the three pharmacopoeia committees, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani pharmacopoeia committee, and then it went to the scientific body of the pharmacopoeia commission, and from the pharmacopoeia commission, then it was recommended that it needs to be published. And I am happy to inform you that just last week it has been published. So the pharmacopoeia standards of this Ayush Joshanda or Ayush Quath or Ayush Kodini, these have been published for all the three systems. The formulary specifications as well as the pharmacopoeia standards. It is a great thing. Now with this, now the industry is making different dosage forms of this formulation. Now, what are the different dosage forms? One means a decoction, the powder. Even the HIMSR, they are also making. They are making just tea bags. So 3 grams of that decoction, coarse powder, and you just dissolve that coarse powder in 150 ml of warm water, hot water. Don't boil it, because if you boil it, then the secondary metabolites will come. They may be toxic. Because this formulation is health promoting, immunity boosting. So antioxidants, normally they are present in the polysaccharides, and polysaccharides, they are soluble in hot water, not in boiling water or like that. So boiling is not recommended for this. Now, some of the companies, particularly in southern India, what they have done, they have made fine powder and they have made dispersible tablets. They are sold 500 ml, and some they have made extract. Why I'm telling all these things to you? That as per the drugs and cosmetic rules, if you see the drugs and cosmetic rules, there are 4 kinds of drugs which are regulated in our country. One is pharmaceutical drugs, the so-called synthetic drugs or the chemical drugs. Right? Second category is Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani drugs. Third category is homeopathic drug. And the fourth category is, I think that is the latest entry, and that category was introduced just in 2016, that is phytopharmaceutical drug. But unfortunately, so far there is no phytopharmaceutical drug licensed for manufacturing. So there is no license has been given for any phytopharmaceutical. And if you see the legal definition of phytopharmaceutical product is there must be 4 bioactive identifiable molecules in that. So I think it is just like a synthetic drug, just like a chemical drug, but the source is plant. The plant material is the source. Now, this Ayush Joshanda, it has a lot of scope, it has a lot of potential. Why I am suggesting this to you? Because all those who are, the medical students are here, the medical scientists are here, researchers are here. And in this campus, under the umbrella of this Jamia Hamdard, there are different institutions. Pharmaceutical sciences department is there, pharmacy department is there, you have animal house, You have different kinds of laboratories. You have very good clinical facilities, both from the Unani medicine side as well as from the modern medical side. Right? Now, this formulation, it holds a lot of potential. If you see the individual ingredients, I think a lot of scientific validation of those ingredients have been. Scientific screening has also been done. Means what are their pharmacological properties? What are their the safety limits? Everything done. Now, the scientific validation of the formulation as a whole. Scientific validation of the formulation. I think this institute is the right place where all aspects, whether it is related to the quality, whether it is related to the stability, whether it is related to the product development, R&D for the product development, to create new dosage form, to create new indication. So today, if you see the drug development, particularly for this antibiotics, after 2004, no new antibiotic has come. Now the researchers, what they are thinking, purposing and repurposing of the existing medicines. So traditional medicines, Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani formulation, I think they have big scope for purposing and repurposing for the contemporary indications, because they are used for the indications, for the uses which are mentioned in the authoritative books of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani. Just I give you one example, like Trifla. Trifla, everyone know, Etrifal. Now, Etrifal, if you see the traditional literature of Ayurveda, Siddha, Unani, it is meant for, okay, it is good for this, means again that is in traditional language, traditional use. But if you want to use Trifla as a hypolipidemic agent, you will have to conduct studies. You will have to create evidence. So that is the purposing and repurposing. So that kind of the scientific approach that is required, and I think the scientists, the researchers, and the medical students, those who are working this, so under one umbrella, all these different activities, these can be done. So my only submission to all of you, and my request or my appeal to all of you, is that look towards this definition. Now this formulation, Ayush Joshanda, the pharmacopoeia standards are there, the formula specifications are there, and all the ingredients, they are available. Aisa nahi hai ki they are in scarcity, easily available. They are not very costly also. And this formulation has been widely accepted by the communities. During the outbreak, the NGOs, the hospitals, the dispensary, the government dispensary, the practitioner, they on their own started manufacturing and dispensing this formulation. It has become so popular. But once you create the evidence for the indications, what for. Now, if you see the drugs and cosmetic rules, even for the classical formulations, the option is given there. You can make any dosage form, but the regulatory requirements are different. Like suppose if you make the extract. So for aqueous extract, the regulatory requirements are different. For the hydroalcoholic extracts, and if you use the supracritical extract or the methanolic extract, then the mutagenicity data, reproductive toxicology data is also required, right? But for the wholesome extracts, means hydroalcoholic extract, and for this aqueous extract, or even if you make the wholesome formulation, means just mixing the powders of the 4 ingredients, so far the regulatory requirements are not very stringent, easy. But the only thing is that for scientific validation and to create this evidence of efficacy, and the safety requirements are for the licensing of the product, that is not very difficult, because all these are traditionally used formulation and ingredients and generally regarded as safe. And if you see the WHO guidelines as well as the ICMR guidelines, I think the toxicity studies or the safety studies, they are not required for the individual ingredients. But for the wholesome formulation, when you mix the different ingredients, these studies may be required. And these are also required because if you want to get the product registered in the foreign market, in the international market for that. Why I am emphasizing this thing, that why these things need to be done. Now, from the perspective of United System of Medicine, presently, I am requesting to the Unani fraternity. I am also requesting the Unani drug manufacturers that come up for WHO GMP certification of their manufacturing units. So far, there is no a Unani company or the Siddha company who is WHO GMP certified. We started this process, this WHO GMP certification for Ayurveda Siddha Unani drug manufacturer about 10 years back. When I was in WHO, I came back, we made a proposal, and we started implementing this scheme under Drug Controller General of India. Now, Drug Controller General of India is administering this scheme, but the Ministry of Ayush is also providing technical inputs. And so joint inspection and then the joint examination of the documents that is done. And as on date, I think more than 28 Ayurveda companies, they have become WHO GMP certified. And their products, they are going to around 135 countries, more than 400 products. They are COPP. They have received this certificate of pharmaceutical product. But this Unani medicine, because the Unani formulation as such, I think these are quite popular in the Middle East countries. I have traveled to UAE, I think more than 5 times. And whenever I had discussion with the regulators there, the drug regulators there, we did not find any Unani formulation registered there. Not even as a food supplement. Otherwise, our products, they are going out of the country in the form of food supplement, dietary supplements, or the general health products, or as an OTC product. They are not going as drug, because the regulations for the drugs in the importing countries, they are very, very stringent. They do not differentiate between synthetic drug and the traditional drug. They say drug is drug. They have to meet all the requirements of the quality, evidence of safety, evidence of efficacy and stability, everything they require. So this is one of the reasons that our products are going. And if today, the export of this traditional medicines from India, it is to the tune of around $4 billion per annum. And we are expecting that and in the last 1 year, after this COVID-19 outbreak, it has grown 44%. The domestic market as well as the export market, that has enhanced by 44%. So a lot of scope is there. But my only expectation from you is that the scientific studies related to this formulation, these are important, and if these can be done, I think we can enhance our domestic market as well as the international market or the export market of this product. So with these words, I conclude, and I wish you all the best. And I think that next time when I will come, I think, yes, sir.
Using the process of reduction, why can't traditional medicine come down to single molecule activity?
Then it will not be called as a traditional medicine. The approach is entirely different. There is one wholesome approach, another is a reductionist approach, as Professor Kazi said in the beginning. You just see, Yes. Okay, these 2 molecules came from the traditional medicine. Okay, but there is another story also. Reserpine also came from the traditional medicine, but no, Reserpine is out of the market. Right. Right. So why I'm stressing upon this wholesome approach? In mid-60s, the first anti-ulcer drug that also came from traditional medicine, from Mulati, Glycyrrhiza glabella, carbonoxolone. But today, nobody knows about carbonoxolone, because when the people started using carbonoxolone, it caused gynecomastia. It was stopped. There are issues. Now the thing is, the approaches, if you see the approaches of the two systems, is a river is flowing. The river of knowledge is flowing. So one system is the so-called traditional system of medicine is standing on this bank of the river, and the other system, the modern system of medicine so-called, is standing on the other bank of the river. We can see each other, but the merger is not possible. We are striving for that, which we call as integrative medicine. But integrative medicine is not merging physically. It is to bridge the gaps. So bridge the gaps in the knowledge. Right? So to end my words, I would say, what is knowledge? I think someone has very rightly said, to know that you know what you know, and to know that what you do not know, that is the true knowledge. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I'd like to request Dr. Jean Kazi, sir, to please honor with a memento to Dr. D.C. Katoch.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have the Sarabani's lecture now, and then we'll come later.
Over to our next speaker, who will be delivering his talk on immunity, the savior, echo of body's response to pathogens. Dr. Saran Bani is a senior advisor in Sami Saxena Group, Bangalore. He has a vast amount of research experience in experimental pharmacology, inflammation, and allied disorders, with more than 150 papers and 90 plus patents to his credit. Sir, we'd like you to start sharing your slide.
Good afternoon, everybody. And it's an honor to be in this gathering with so much eminent people. And I must thank the fraternity, the organizers who gave me a chance to speak on in this meeting. And I will share my presentation now, and hopefully it goes off. Start share. So. I don't know. How can I share it? I don't know. Share screen. I have to share the screen, not desktop. Yeah. I think you can see it. I think it is visible. So I'll be talking on immunity. Immunity is a nomadic system. It's a khana badosh system, which circulates in the whole body, in the form of cells, variable cells, many types of cells that have different functions to perform. But actual function is just to take care of the body so that a multicellular organism is able to throw any unicellular or any bacteria, pathogen, virus that enters the body without causing harm to the body. This is what immune system is made of and has to do. But disease and disability are dynamic processes, and they only show once they are there in the body. We cannot look for the disease to be coming. It comes, it flares up, and then we are a diseased person. We need to have preventive actions rather than therapeutic ones to take care of the diseases that are life-threatening, that are lifestyle disorders, and that are nowadays quite commonly prevalent, like COVID-19 also. If we talk of traditional medicines, in approaches in Unani, Ayurveda, and other traditional medicine system have an upgrade to our understanding and implementation of wellness. maintenance techniques, and holistic prognosis. When body is whole, then we need to have it as a whole. So we need to treat it as a whole. We cannot take a part of it and treat it and then connect it back to the body, because that is what, if we talk of contemporary healthcare, the modern medicine, the only issue with modern medicine is that it will remove the causative factor, would stay there, but the effect of that would go. Even if causative factor is suppressed, after prolonged use of this medicine, the side effects would start appearing, and then to control the side effects, other medicines would be required. So it is a cascade that keeps on revolving around effects and side effects, medicine and other medicines. We need to, this is a time to shift the paradigm of health away from its obsolete cycle and look for prevention rather than therapeutic care. If we look at the research and development in the area of natural products, we know it is about less than 200 years old. And traditional medicine has provided several remedies for metabolic stressors and the other disorders that directly or indirectly affect the immune system. Immune system is affected by any change in our natural process, by any alien material entering our body. And immune system needs to be well awake to take care of that. But immune system is a double-edged sword. It can take care, it can also create issues. I'll come to that later. Looking at it, it's never a single-edged sword the way contemporary medicine is. But this immune system hyperactivation, immune system lowering activity, balancing activity, all these are different forms that we talk about the immune system activity as such. The traditional medicine increases the health beneficial effects. It's also a part of our diet is present in the plants that we eat, though plants, in the case of plants, the soil state, all these things affect the condition of the plant and the chemicals, or we can say plant, different combinations present in the plant. But nutritional therapy is the healing system using dietary ingredients, and it mostly takes care of the side effects. And we are what we eat, and when we don't eat proper, then plant-based products can take care of the deficiencies that develop over a period of time. According to Royal Botanical Gardens, United Kingdom, there are 391,000 species of vascular plants. Out of these, only 31,000 have been documented. And this is less than 8%. And out of that, only 1% of plants are documented for medicinal use in human beings and animals. This is too low. And here, even this 1% has been held high by the traditional systems like Unani system, like Ayurvedic system, like Siddha, all these systems. And whereas contemporary medicine never believed in natural compounds, it always believed in synthetic variants of natural compounds or synthetic compounds as such. But looking at, I'll give you just small example. There was a talk that if we have a single compound from a system, it cannot be a traditional drug. It is agreeable, but I'll give you a small example. 150 years ago, willow plant, the bark of that plant gave us salicylic acid. We acetylated it to become acetyl salicylic acid. Till date, it is being used as a blood thinner at a lower doses and at a higher doses as an anti-inflammatory and analgesic properties. And still the work is going on because latest work shows it to be effective in colon cancer. So looking at it, it's never, see, science is dynamic. I feel that there are so many of the potential chemicals present in the plants that have not been explored collectively, or if isolated, it's not accepted collectively, though, to see for their effect and see the medicinal properties that can by far cure so many of the issues that mankind is facing now. Immune system combats infection. It is found everywhere in the body, and without hesitation will fight against anything. And it has got components. I will come to that. I am going slightly faster because I realize that we are behind schedule, and we are ahead of schedule. The time is less. So scientists around the world are working day and night to stop the spread of COVID-19, but our immune system is working harder to ensure that we don't get ill. And the primary job of it is to protect us against everything. And that is not supposed to be ours. And certainly viruses are the pathogens. Now, if we look at the defense mechanism of the body, it has got non-specific immunity and specific immunity. The non-specific immunity is further of two-tier defense system. First one is the skin and the mucous membrane that secretes mucus to take care of all the pathogens that are entering our body or trying to enter our body. Then comes the inflammation, which is taken care in the non-specific way through neutrophils, eosinophils, monocytes, basophils. All these are part of non-specific immunity. And the way NK cells, the most important one, natural killer cells, which kills anything without specifying anything that enters the body, is killed by the NK cell. And this system probably we get from birth and does not need to develop after birth. But specific immunity is the T cell and the B cell. T cell immunity is called as cell-mediated immunity. The B cell immunity is the responsible for forming the antibodies against antigens, which are the proteins produced by the bacteria or the viruses, whatever. So if we look at innate immune cells, I told you about macrophages. Macrophages are the resident monocytes. They are present in the different organs and they get the different names. In liver, they are called as Kupffer cells. In lungs, they are called as alveolar cells. And these all kind of these natural killer cells, however, are the most specialized in killing any alien cell, and natural killer cells also recently have been found to have memory, which other cells of the innate immune response don't have. Dendritic cells are also called as Langerhans cells, and they are under our skin constantly surveying if anything is trying to enter. And if anything does that, they take a portion of that, put it on their head and go to the lymphatic system to tell the lymphatic system, T cells, to get activated against this alien material that has entered the body. So dendritic cells play a very important role in protecting us from anything that is coming inside from outside. Basophils, eosinophils, and mast cells, we all know mast cell degranulation happens, histamine and kinins are released, and they are causative factors for specific inflammation, that's allergies. Or in asthma, they play a very important role, these mast cells, followed by interleukins like IL-4, 10, and 13. Then we have adapted immune response, where we have effector B cells, memory cells. It has a capacity to memorize. Thereby, that's what vaccination does, gives us memory so that next time if there is an attack, the antibodies could destroy the antigens. Then we have T cells, which are the cytotoxic T cells, which are CD8 positive. Then we have T helper cells, which are the CD4 positive T cells. Collectively, they are both called as CD3 positive because CD3 receptor is present on both the types. CD4 T cells are primarily called the T helper cells, which are responsible for orchestrating any kind of adaptive immune response, which develops after 7 or 8 days of infection against an inflammagen. And these T cells are also responsible for making the B cells to get activated, thereby becoming plasma cells to produce antibodies. When a virus is killed, the dendritic cells, natural killer cells, T cells, B cells, they are all important in killing it. And they act as the real protectors of our body. The adaptive immune system, I already said it's a Th1 and Th2 immune system. Now I'll come to T cells are the CD4 T helper cells. They are divided into 2 types according to the cytokines they release and according to the activity they have. One is Th1 cells, which follow Th1 type 1 pathway of cellular immunity and eliminate viruses. This is the most important limb of T cell response, which when activated, releases certain things. I'll come to that specific cytokine that is responsible for demolishing the bacteria or the virus and not also allowing it to replicate further. Th2 derived pathway otherwise is also important because it initiates the humoral immunity, which is the B cell response that helps in the making of different antibodies against the antigens, that is the antigenic material of the pathogens. T helper cells, this Th1, Th2 in normal condition is a balanced reaction, whereas in diseased condition, which keep on happening day in and day out, because if we don't have an immune system, we are likely to die within few days. So T helper cells keep on orchestrating their response in the form of Th1 and Th2. The contemporary medicine has one issue, that it inhibits the T cell response while it tries to remove the pathogen. Whereas the natural products, in a specific way, some of them have a capacity to increase the T cell response in a way we want it to increase against a pathogen. I have a case study which I'll be showing, where a natural product, which is a Unani product, of course, the work we did, some of the work on that, and some of the work we are still doing. This is not a published work, but I'll be showing it to you. So this is what I was talking about. It differentiates into Th1 or Th2. And this primarily the naive T cell releases interferon gamma and IL-12. IL-12 is the first pro-inflammatory cytokine, which is responsible for the activation of the T cells. And IL-12, after its release, also helps in the release of interferon gamma from the naive T cell, which gets activated into a Th1 T cell, which further releases interferon gamma. Interferon gamma is a specific cytokine to kill viruses. Therefore, in case of virus attack into the body, the Th1 response of the T cells become of paramount importance. In older people, after the age of 65 in males and age of 70 to 71 in females, the T cell response gets reduced because the immune system starts withering away. At that stage, less Th1 response, less interferon gamma induces more troubles, more lung damage when COVID-19 attack happens to an older person. This is the reason why youngsters are able to come out of it earlier, whereas the older people find it difficult, as the virus, instead of causing apoptosis, starts causing necrosis of the tissue. These are two different things altogether. With oxygen deficiency, the tissue dies, creating a scar, which is very dangerous. So a cascade of viral particles of COVID-19 enter the body through nose, eyes, or mouth. It's able to stay undetected. That is the class of most of the viruses. And it stays undetected longer than many of the other flu viruses and spike proteins. And then it goes in, gains entry by ACE2 protein, which is on the lung cells. Once in, they hijack the cell machinery, replicate and multiply, thereby infecting the adjoining cells. This is a common way which is adopted by all the cell types, which are the viruses. The signals they generate trigger cytokines and chemokines. Now, cytokines can be pro-inflammatory and they can be anti-inflammatory too. Same is with chemokines, but when we look at the diseased state, lung is infected, virus is inside, body has a natural mechanism of killing that virus by releasing pro-inflammatory mediators. Pro-inflammatory mediators are unable to remove the virus because the inflammation that they trigger further builds up fluid in the lungs in the form of, because more of neutrophils are coming, more of T cells are getting activated, and a cascade of inflammatory cytokines is released, like TNF-alpha, IL-1 beta, IL-6, and all these collectively are so high that they start killing the adjoining tissue as well, because they are in surplus. And then starts a person having dry cough. Dry cough is when this fluid starts building up in the lungs. This is characteristic of coronavirus infection, and this is the beginning of it. The air sacs that are infected, these are the alveoli. They are of two types. I'll come to that. The air sacs are infected and lungs find it harder to perform their core job of extracting oxygen, and this aggravates breathlessness. Alveoli of two types, they are 1 and 2. Alveoli 1 has a very thin lining. It is responsible for the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Alveoli 2 is responsible to releasing surfactant proteins, which are required to maintain the integrity of alveoli 1 and lungs as a whole. Now, once these are attacked, alveoli 1 is not attacked in the beginning. It is the surfactant proteins that are destroyed by damaging alveoli 2. So the support to alveoli 1 is not there in the form of proteins that are taking care of it, and they collapse. Already we know that after the age of 50, some of the alveoli, due to age, start receding. The lung output value goes down as we age. And when we age, whatever lung alveoli we have, they start getting damaged due to surfactant inhibitions. That causes perfect damage and a classic condition of lung failure or partial failure or damage, which sadly may be permanent even after COVID is cured. The alveolar involvement is characterized by profound hypoxia. Hypoxia is when body does not get enough oxygen. And this happens when the hypoxia increases due to the hypoxia receptor activation and the inflammatory flooding, which nowadays, a very good term has been evolved by Americans calling it as cytokine storm. Cytokine storm actually earlier was used for sepsis, septicemia, where in sepsis, the body would have high values of all the pro-inflammatory cytokines. But now cytokine storm is being talked about for lungs also. I won't go into other details except that bradykinin, all the kinins also cause leakage of the vessels in the lungs, thereby filling it with more fluid. Fluid fill up, damage to alveoli, damage to the surfactant proteins makes lung work at less than half capacity or may fail completely. The case study we have, this was saffron is a Unani plant, Saffron in Urdu, and Kesar in Hindi. And here, small thing I would like to say, I never wanted to say it, but I would say that when I was working at IIM, Dr. Qazi once, as my boss and director, he once told me that his son during childhood had a lot of coughing and because he was born in Srinagar, which is a very cold place. And then family gave him a bit of saffron, and after that he never got that response. So that gave me an idea that in the lungs and in the tracheal system, there is something that saffron does which others don't, or maybe there are others also which we have never worked upon. Saffron is a plant which is primarily produced in Turkey, Iran, Central Asia, India, China, and some parts of Europe is also now cultivating it. It has been used traditionally to treat nervous system, respiratory system, this asthma and cold system. We have already published one paper on that earlier, but this study is of great importance, looking at crocus. It gives you doctors and other researchers also an idea to work on saffron. All its compounds are active. You can work collectively if it has to remain in the traditional paradigm, or you can also work it singularly on some of the compounds that are most active, because we identified one which was having more effect, though we as a product it should always be a saffron as such, but we wanted to see the effect of a solo compound, and that is what I'm going to show you now. We know that there are published studies where picrosin, crocin 1, crocin 2, crocin 3, crocin 4, these are all compounds present in saffron, and they are shown to be effective against HIV and also against herpes simplex, HSV, herpes simplex virus. It inhibited HSV replication at entry point of virulence into cells. Indeed, crocin carotenoid suppressed HSV penetration in the target cells, as well as disturbed virus replication after entry into the cells. So this is a reference that down there you can take it afterwards and look at the details of this this paper, which is a very interesting paper and gave us an idea that we should work on saffron. And also I selected saffron because for this presentation I had Withania also, but I selected this because it's a Unani plant. Now interferon gamma is produced even by the cells that have virus present into them, and virus multiplies with them. Now, if we look at interferon alpha, which is produced by viral IFN, that triggers viral resistance. And if we look at natural killer cells and T cells, you can see on the screen, these produce interferon gamma, which I told you is an immune interferon gamma that is critical for taking care of the immune system and killing the viruses. It's a most potent antiviral cytokine, and that is produced by NK cells and T cells on mitogenic or as well as antigenic stimulus, which comes through B cells as well, antigenic stimulus or dendritic cells. If we look at virus-induced cells, they produce interferon alpha. They try to trigger resistance so that the drugs are unable to take care of them, whereas NK cells start fighting with them along with the T cells to produce interferon gamma. This is the paper. The reference is down there. You can look into it. You will really love this paper. So once we looked at interferon gamma expression by a saffron compound, it's a combination of compounds. I have put it like that because I have not yet published it. And I wanted to show it. So therefore, we put it there. If we look at normal control values in animals that have been sensitized through an antigen, we find that normal values are 4.65% of interferon gamma. And if we look at SRBC control, we find that it nearly doubles to 8.15. So when we look at saffron compounds, we see that it further increases the interferon gamma, thereby, and this interferon gamma is a specific interferon gamma of T cells. In immunology, cells secrete same kind of things with different functions. IL-6 secreted by T cells causes pro-inflammatory response, but IL-6 secreted by macrophages sometimes is anti-inflammatory as well. So we need to be, I told you that this immunology is a double-edged sword. Sometimes we look at it in one way, but it acts in the other way. So there are fibrotic changes that happen in the lungs due to the increase in fibrosis-inducing cytokine, primary one being, this is a reference is there. I will go ahead to show you what exactly I mean. See, when there is a disruption in the normal wound healing, then fibrosis happens because extracellular matrix starts taking care of itself and is affected by some of the cytokines that are primarily responsible for causing extracellular matrix to increase haphazardly. These are IL-1 beta, IL-13 being pro-inflammatory mediators or anti-inflammatory, whatever, TNF, then TGF beta. TGF beta is one of the main cytokine that causes fibrosis. And its fibrosis is not only limited to lungs. In fatty liver also, it causes fibrosis. In kidneys also, it causes fibrosis. And fibrosis is wrongful development of extracellular matrix wherever it needs repair. It also causes fibrosis in the heart. Transforming growth factor beta is the main culprit for causing fibrosis in COVID-19 infected lungs. It induces redox imbalance by increasing reactive oxygen species production and by decreasing antioxidant defense system. Redox imbalance in turn activates latent or sleeping TGF beta 1 to increase its expression, and that causes fibroblast proliferation, fibroblast ECM production increases, myofibroblasts start making fibroblasts, cell migration, fibrotic scar formation happens. All these things are detrimental and not required by the lungs at the time when they are infected through the virus. If we look at the decrease in expression of TGF beta by saffron compounds, we see that it's a highly significant decrease at 2 milligram dose. You can very well understand in the 2 milligram, you can easily extrapolate to how much saffron would be having this compound. And from 2 milligram, you can get at a reverse, you can make the dose of saffron, and that dose can be effective in inhibiting the TGF beta and scarring and damaging necrosis and extracellular matrix buildup of the lungs. Then we look at IL-13. We know that interleukin-13 plays a very important role in lung fibrosis. It is the main cytokine released in asthma. That is why you never find asthma going away in 7 or 8 days. And we talk of so many, in Delhi itself, out of 5, what I was reading somewhere that 1.5 person out of 5 youngsters are having asthma or are susceptible to asthma due to pollution there. Now, interleukin-13 becomes the main culprit in that. Its prolonged release over a period of 10 to 20 years would only cause a permanent asthmatic condition, and steroids as the only source to keep that person going. Honestly speaking, looking at these lifestyle disorders or whatever, we always know that they don't happen in a day. It takes time. For COVID, it's the other way around, but the end result is the same. lymphocyte releases IL-13. Macrophages also release IL-13. Also, macrophages are of two types lately, M1 and M2. M2 macrophages are primarily responsible for releasing TGF-beta on their own. Now, if TGF-beta is already being released there and macrophages enter there to remove the necrotic tissue, then they also, after getting sensitized, starts releasing TGF-beta. So they are all, instead of helping lungs, they are killing lungs. And that is what happens when epithelial damage happens. TGF-beta causes a lot of collagen deposition. 3 days back, one of the person in my office told me that I had COVID and I am having breathing problems. And I think that somebody told me, eat collagen. It will build up your system. Your lungs, your body will become... I was just thinking, collagen is what is damaging him. And he wants to eat collagen. And what will collagen do? It will get digested in the stomach. Why? It's a protein. So what for? But I didn't tell him anything because he was too, at that stage, he was too depressed. I would talk to him later on. So all the things don't, I have a pain in my bones, I will take collagen. No, that's not the way. Collagen is already overbuilt in your body. So if we look at IL-13 saffron compound, and here comes the story, it has anti-asthmatic effect. It possibly has anti-allergic effect, and possibly should be tried and looked into for its activity on the lungs per se and other activities as well, including cardiovascular and gut, because all these things are connected. Holistic medicine means holistic care. Then monocyte chemoattractant protein we have worked on. I am showing you 4 or 5. We have worked on 10 to 12 targets, but these are the targets that were very important and related to, so I wanted to show them. And with the time constraint, I wanted to be quick. I need to finish it off fast. So MCP1 promotes collagen synthesis, and along with TGF-beta, MCP1 expression also increases, and leukocytes increase TNF-alpha, L1 beta. This loop is endless. This keeps on going. Vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF, TGF-beta, PDGF, this is platelet-derived growth factor. All these growth factors only grow the extracellular matrix, which tissue remodeling and lung fibrosis, making lungs totally, I should not say, but totally redundant. And at that time, a person's survival becomes very difficult. We see that saffron compounds inhibit MCP1. Therefore, it inhibits MCP, which causes damage. So 3-4 things I have shown to you, all were, these are dangerous for our lungs during COVID, and this are taken care of by saffron compound. And then this increase in fibrotic tissue causes hypoxia. This I had earlier also said. It causes following injury. There is hypoxia, and when oxygen doesn't reach different parts of the body, the different parts started showing signs of decay. One can suffer heart attack, one can suffer kidney failure, one can even suffer liver failure as well. And this is a dangerous situation to have hypoxia. And we looked at HIF1 alpha, and we found that hypoxia was reduced, increasing the oxygen taking capacity of the lungs in the rodents. This study has been done in rodents, has not been yet tried in human beings. So if we look at epithelial barrier dynamics, with persistent exposure to virus, bacteria, or toxins leads to damage causing fibrosis, but there are cell adhesion molecules which are critical to maintain the integrity of lungs in the form of alveolar epithelium being taken care of. So this I won't go into, except that you have the presentation. You can see that E-cathedrin plays pivotal role in the epithelial cell behavior and is of paramount importance in maintaining the integrity of lungs and other tissues as well, where it plays a very dynamic role. And we find that disease control, where the decrease had happened from 7.2, a normal value, to 2.9. And this is a mean between, in a mean of group of 8 animals. And when we see saffron compound, you see how significantly E-cathedrin has been increased by the expression. Aquaporin, or the water channels, play a very important role. And I have told you that in lungs, the water collection is the first sign of cytokine storm happening. And the issue that is beyond control at some point of time. So impairment in alveolar tissue fluid clearance due to altered function expression of aquaporins highlights their pathophysiological significance. So aquaporin 5 is in alveolar epithelia. It is, when we look at it, we find that it increases. Thereby, the channel systematically increases its capacity to take out the fluid collected in the lungs. This fluid normally, under normal buildup with normal lungs, always keeps on getting cleared up from the system through aquaporin. But this aquaporin 5 we are doing, the aquaporin 1 is also there. They all have variable functions. We have done that also, but I didn't include that here because wanted to just give you a feel of it. And this aquaporin plays a very important role in regulating the channels that are responsible for clear up the lungs, making the space clearer for more oxygen, carbon dioxide changeover. Then stress, in fact, we started working on stress when Dr. Kazi asked me to do this in IIIM because stress is the mother of all diseases. Body pain is certainly what is painful, but mind pain is what is dangerous and causes many diseases. Well, depression, suppression, compression, all have their impressions. Mental trauma, physical wear and tear, danger to life, extreme weather conditions, and loneliness. Top of it, loneliness. This, when the people were asked to stay indoors, there were some people who were lonely, mostly older people, whom sadly some of the children don't care about their parents. So they were the ones who suffered from depression. And depression raises the cortisol level in the body, and cortisol damages the lungs and all the things. I'm coming to that, I just want to go up fast. Stress is the pain that body feels when things get out of balance. We smile, we look happy, but in the mind, so many things go. Somebody demeans us. We think that we are incapable. This happens to everybody. It has happened to me many times. This happens to everybody. But we need to be strong and come out of it. And I feel that stress is a killer. It's a giant killer. It's a big killer. The more brain you have, the more stress you have. I feel that dumb is better because they don't think anything. The recent publication demonstrated that adrenal glands' cortisol release is controlled by the brain. So stress always makes cortisol to release. This is the reference down there. You can open it and see. It has been published as late as 2017, quite a recent research. So if we see corticosterone, why I have put instead of cortisol is because in rodents, corticosterone is there. Cortisol is only present in human beings. The rodents lack one of the component that makes cortisol. Thereby, rodents have corticosterone to replicate, look like cortisol and has the similar functions. So we found that saffron compound was highly effective in reducing corticosterone level in the animals and was highly significant even at the lower dose of 1 milligram per kg body weight of the animal. You can very well imagine that if we have a product that reduces stress, that has cortisol inhibitory properties, then you have a product not only for COVID, but for so many other people, for so many other things, for so many people who have lost hope, for so many people who are shown to have no value. These are painful things. Many diseases are this. I will talk some other day. Gut-lung axis is very important. All the diseases, even the brain-related Alzheimer's recently has been reported to be after constantly abusing the gut for 20, 25 years, we start eating junk food. Why it is not in India that Alzheimer is so prevalent? Why in US and Europe? Because junk is more there, and we need to be proud of our heritage. And 80% of our immune system is located in our digestive tract. Neurologically active gut has 100 million neurons. We don't even have 100 million neurons in our spinal cord. They form a mesh in 9 meters of our alimentary canal. Any issue with our gut directly affects the higher centers, resulting into affecting the functioning of organs being controlled by the brain. Therefore, this gut-lung crosstalk, here is what the real research of Saffron lies, which needs to be looked into. We are still working on it. Dysbiosis is a dangerous thing. And from lungs, we cannot isolate gut from lungs, liver from lungs. Everything has a mucous membrane, and mucous membrane connects everything. Therapeutic effect, if we look according to reports, saffron plays a key role in to cure digestive system disorders, chemoprevention, inhibition of cell proliferation, induction of apoptosis. Induction of apoptosis is required, necrosis is not required, antioxidant effects and radical scavenging, genoprotective properties, prevention of lipid peroxidation and anti-inflammatory processes. This study is still in progress. I have not shown the data, but this has been reported down there, what the activities that I have written here. So if we look at the summary of the therapeutics of saffron compound, which directly or indirectly affect the COVID damage, repairs that damage into the lungs, is decrease in TGF-beta, that prevents generation and deposition of matrix, decreases MCP1, monocyte chemoattractant protein, which decreases inflammatory cytokine upsurge. It decreases HIF, which is hypoxia-inducible factor. It reduces hypoxia. It decreases cortisol, which reduces stress. This is the mother of all the diseases. Then increases viral fighting capacity by increasing interferon gamma, T cell specific. It maintains epithelial barrier dynamics by increasing E-cadherins. It helps in the excess fluid clearance by increases aquaporin 5. So a balanced immune system is always needed. Our immune system does not always need to boost as much as is propagated. Only after 65, probably, we need to take care of that, because younger people and younger adults have immune system that can take care of themselves, and overaction of immune systems or overactivation of immune system can cause autoimmune disorders, which are dangerous, then also can cause allergic reactions. Body starts hyperactively reacting against anything that may not be very dangerous, and underaction causes cancer and infections. Balanced immune system is required for optimal effectiveness. Proper sleep, required nutrition, and avoiding stress are the best to keep our immune system under. Kill stress, because otherwise it will kill you. Take care of your body. That is the only place you have to live in. Thank you very much for giving me this time.
Word to him, I think. Thank you. Saran, thank you so much for giving us your time. I think I'm more proud about you today. You have done so well, created this presentation in such a short time. And I congratulate you for this saffron work. Of course, I think part of it goes to me. So you have to, we should.
Sir, I take this opportunity to thank you. You have put me on the path which I have never thought that I have worked for even a day, because I love this.
I just wanted to share with you, there are only few people now here. So Saran worked with us for a number of years. I mean, you will be surprised that he was a technician. You know, he joined our institute as a technician. Even though during his development, he did his master's, then he did his PhD, but he was a technician. And he was technician par excellence. I used to watch him. He was next to my lab. He was in pharmacology. I was in biochemistry and microbiology. So I used to watch him, and was very young. And so I used to always call him and challenge him. And he would come out, with all kinds of solutions to people. Mostly preclinical studies. Then we had also, in vitro studies. By and large, he was working in the area of cancer, and we had, I think, a panel of cancer cell lines where he was testing his compounds. But one day, he challenged us and he said, please compare me with anybody, any scientist there who is a scientist, designated as scientist. He said, I don't care about salary, what you are giving me. By the way, a technician would also, at some point of time, draw the same salary as that of scientist, but he would be called technician. So he said, I challenge anybody come and defeat me on my subject. And if he cannot, then give his position to me and my position. So we had a lot of discussions. I went to CSIR headquarters and told them such people should be identified in CSIR. We had thousands of such people throughout the country. So I said we should have a proper mechanism, identify them, and place them in the scientific cadre. It was not accepted. Even at the highest level, we went up to the ministry, it was not accepted. They said, no, once they take the cadre, they will die in that cadre. So he took the challenge and he left the institute. And of course, I was responsible for that. I almost threw him out and I said, no, now you get on your own. And he's now working in Bangalore, one of the finest companies. I mean, it's a very large company where he works as a scientist and you know, thriving there. So we're proud of you. And the dean just told me that they would like to invite you physically here and interact with our students. We have a large number of masters and PhD students here, but we also have MD students, you know, who have to be, you know, we must sensitize them on bench research. That's why I thought that I would like to take your this time. That's why I inducted you, first of all, to interact with a couple of our people with their research, and now for this particular moment. Thank you so much for your time.
Anytime, sir. Anytime, sir. You remain my mentor through my life, whatever I am. You showed me the path, sir.
Thank you, sir. We're going to stop the proceedings for the Friday prayers and lunch, and we will assemble here again at 2:30.
Thank you.